just this morning, a side of me open that I never noticed. We are the future, ride for the culture. Put my dirty clothes on the lines of a notebook. Never hide from exposure, show ya nobody is unbroken.
Remember my name. You see my face every breath that you take. Just when you think I was torn down in flames, I'm born again. All of my dark days are gone. You will remember. Yeah, you will remember. Yeah, you will remember.
while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. You ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible! Can he get it done?
The grandstands are going wild.
Yeah, let's go, baby! Oh, yeah, boys! They're crashing mid-pack. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Good morning, dirt racing fans, and welcome to your final day of qualifying races here for the Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer in 2026. Last night we had our first repeat winner of the week in Brody Desher in the Combat Clean Sim Racing EPI machine, getting the top step of the podium. But now it's time to put up or shut up. We only have two more opportunities to be able to score some points to earn your way into the highest superstition you can here at the Big House. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keenan Kuzin, telling you once again from the iRacing studio. Today, I have my good friend, your friend in mine, Mr. James Pike.
Hello, Keenan. Hello, Crandon fans. This is a big day. You made the point. It's the last day to try and earn points to get yourself in the biggest imbalance of super sessions you can tomorrow. So for some people, they've already put the points over the course of the week to put themselves in a good place for Saturday. Other folks, this is a big moving day. It's a big opportunity for them to get the qualifying points they need to try and end up in top split on Saturday afternoon and evening.
That's all we have to play for here, ladies and gentlemen, is who is going to be able to lock their positions in on Super Saturday. Again, still lots to play for. You could join right now and still be participating. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it is one of the most important weeks in dirt road racing on the iRacing service, the only special event in the discipline. And everybody has shown up and showed out for that. We've had such a great turnout so far this season, but not the only special events we have coming for you here as we end the summer and go into the beginning of fall. We talked about it already. The Brit Car 24 joining the special event schedule. That's going to be very exciting. September 18th to 20th at Silverstone, Petit Le Mans. I know part of our broadcast team, Drew Adamson, that's one of his favorite events of the year. And I've said this before, and I will say this again until I run out of breath. If you do not have or have driven one of the Gen 3 supercars around Bathurst, you're missing out. It is a time and a half, James.
You are speaking the truth. Bathurst 1000, a mainstay of the special events calendar, and the big biggest event down in Australia every single year. Now, if you're wondering what we've been up to over the course of this week, we've had 5 qualifying sessions over the course of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, in which drivers have earned points towards Saturday's Super Sessions. We got 2 more sessions today where people are going to have the opportunity to earn points, and then the Super Sessions, the big money, the big show on Saturday to determine who can call themselves the king of Crandon at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, especially those who are based out of Europe. This is probably their last opportunity to work their way into that first Super Session. I know some names we're going to be able to have not seen yet this week. We're going to see some brand new faces, a great opportunity for that. And some names we haven't seen because they're out at a rallycross track in France. Shout out to Quentin Delomo. I saw him out there today. But as we talked on a little bit already, it is open to all drivers with a Dirt 4.0 safety rating or higher. You have those 2 opportunities per day, and you're earning to earn points. The higher your strength of field, the more points you earn, and that'll get you into Super Saturday. But just like the iRacing Indy 500, you can still show up on Saturday, James, having not run a race all week at all, and still find yourself in part of that 10-wide start here at Crandon.
This is true. You don't necessarily have to qualify to be involved with any of the Crandon races on Saturday, but if you put in time in the qualifying sessions and earn points, you'll be going up against the absolute best of the best. You can call yourself the absolute fastest driver around this famed piece of dirt in Wisconsin.
Yeah, speaking of this famed piece of dirt, welcome to the Daytona of short course racing here in North America. Welcome to the big house. This is Crandon International Raceway in Wisconsin. 56 years in business. They'll be celebrating their anniversary next week. If I implore you, if you're in the region, if you're in the Wisconsin area, to get down there and see some of the best shoulder-to-shoulder racing that the motorsports world has to offer. We've got Potawatomi turn number 1. We've got Cowboy Corner. We've got the gravel pit. We've got all the areas to bring you all the action. And of course, 10 wide all the way in the Land Rush start.
Maybe the most fun part with these Pro 4 trucks. And if you're wondering about what these trucks entail, how about 4-wheel drive? How about a 410 cubic inch V8 that makes in excess of 900 horsepower with a 6-speed sequential transmission? These things weigh over 4,000 pounds, but they've got tons of travel in the suspension, which, Keenan, in fairness, when you're jumping as much as these trucks do, you need a little bit of travel to make sure your truck stays in one piece.
I know we talked about it a bit pre-show, but Ponce Turn 2, where you're probably 10, 15 feet in the air sideways, yeah, these machines are built for war and then some. They are battle ready, they are battle tested, and we've seen a battle and a half this week as we'll take a look at what we saw last night. This was your Thursday sessions. This is what happened yesterday morning. It was, you know, we thought, again, we think the Thursday sessions are going to be a little bit tamer. Usually the freaks come out at night, but the freaks were out in all forms yesterday.
There's always calamity at every corner of this racetrack, not just Calamity Corner. We saw it in the stars. We saw it here coming into Cowboy Corner. We saw a lot of people, and that's been the story, I think, of a lot of the battling from 10th on back. It's a point that you've been keeping over the course of this week. But the battle up front between Drake Mittag and Connor Berry, this was the star of the show yesterday morning.
To the point I've been making, where, you know, the racing's rough, you're shoulder to shoulder, you're bumping off each other. To give credit to these two, I know they're teammates, but they put on a clinic to show you that you can have this close competitive racing with switchbacks and passes into passes, and you don't need to be leaning on each other. You don't need to be punting each other off the track. But also, you could also do that as well as the Hornet's Nest was out in full effect in the main race.
Yeah, the Hornet's Nest went crazy on those first few laps. The Land Rush starts make for one of the most unique setups and scenes in iRacing in the first few laps here before everybody gets settled in. Usually some form of chaos, but surprise, surprise, guess who was at it at the front again, putting on a show?
Yeah, Connor Berry, Drake Mittag, just a masterclass. Probably one of the best heads-up, head-to-head races we've had all season long here in the Crandon Championship. Mittag even trying to bump his teammate out of the way. But the world champion, Connor Berry, the former world champion, rather, has saw it coming from a mile away. That's a textbook move. And then last night, again, Sean Winkler, we've been talking about him all week. Nicholas Dashley has not participated yet this week, and at this point, we have to assume he won't. So he is the only returning champion from 2025. He finally found some speed in that real number 720 Racecraft Academy machine.
he found some speed, and Sean Winkler found some luck. Winkler's had speed for most of this week, and it seems like it's been a 50-50 as to whether or not he gets caught up in somebody else's incident right after the land rush, or whether or not he's running top 3. This is a race where the latter happened.
Yeah, and then Dane Culver again getting his 3rd sprint win of the week. He's been able to convert good qualifying positions into a ton of sprint wins, but unfortunately for him in the feature, in the main race, it just was not meant to be. A heck of an incident with him and Brody Descher, and it feels like I'm running out of breath saying that him and Brody Descher have had some dust-ups this week, because that's the first of many.
This has been a recurring theme. When these two have been together at Crandon this week, it has been gloves off entirely. And this was just another chapter in that. You see Dane bouncing off of the rear deck lid there of Brody's machine, and that sort of ended that battle. But that isn't to say there weren't good battles throughout the rest of the field.
Yeah, again, the racing this week has been rough. It's been elbows out, but at the end of the day, at least for TV, it's been fantastic. So here's your current point standings. Kevin McFarland has done his one race Tuesday night and decided to park the truck for the rest of the week. That's the highest SOF we've had all season. Drake Matega with that win yesterday is going to be P2 in points. James, I want to talk about somebody we have not talked about all week. Cody Wienecke. He won your 2nd split yesterday evening, and look at him now in the top 20. He's a driver that didn't make the top 20 last season, so I'm sure I spoke to him this morning. He's very excited to be within contention here.
And not to say that he's guaranteed a spot in top split on Super Saturday. I think far from it if you're at that point in the point standings, but you've at least given yourself a chance if you're Wienecke, and to do that in 2nd split, I think says something important too, that yes, our focus goes on top split, but you can come from other splits, and if you execute the way that you're supposed to, you can give yourself a chance of making top split on Saturday.
Now look who found the paint submission form, Kendrick Cargill, with a new lick of paint on that number 7 machine. Talk about drivers that we've been able to talk about all week. It seems like Kendrick either has had really, really bad luck on these starts or just gets caught up in the hornet's nest in the P10 area. That's why qualifying is so important here at Crandon as we start our qualifying session. 3 laps, James, to be able to get these trucks wound up. They'll have one basically full warm-up lap, and then you'll see that wide arc into Calamity Corner as they start their flyers.
If somebody is in the business of trying on a new livery for some better luck, Kendrick Cargill, I think, might be that person amongst everybody else in this field. He has had the worst luck of anybody competing at Crandon this week. So that's not to say that the speed hasn't been there, to your point, but just caught up in something, it seems like, every session. So he needs some points. He'll have a good opportunity for it here this morning.
Yeah, now keep an eye on that number 11 machine as well when we have a chance to get to him. Ethan Kern, his teammate at Hadley Boyce last night, incredible finish. The New Zealanders have come with some pace as Cody Retzlaff takes that big wide arc into Calamity Corner and starts his first flying lap. Great start for the number 3 truck. That wide line just gets you a couple extra tenths, a couple extra miles an hour to be able to carry that speed down into Argonne Corner. Momentum at this track is so important, especially with all the banking and all the different banks and the degrees of banking on the corner. Something you're very familiar with, James.
I do know a little bit about banking. That's a fair point. Me coming from the asphalt world. How about Miles Morse of T. Watson Racing, who's been competitive and been part of these battles, especially towards the back half of the top 10? He's been very, very competitive and a lot of fun to watch, because it seems like where Miles has been, so have the good battles on track been too. So it'll be fun to watch Miles and see where he ends up with these land rush starts.
You know, speaking of drivers that we've been able to talk to and drivers that have had success in the real life world, I don't think we've had a chance to talk about, actually, you know what? I raced this guy yesterday in Pro 4 Fixed. That's John Zimmer, 2-time Monster Jam Arena Series champion, driver of Terminal Velocity, a truck he's designed himself. So, I was wondering why a 2000 iRacing guy was gapping me yesterday. Turns out he's got a lot more experience behind the wheel than I thought.
One of those fun cases, and you'll see that every once in a while in iRacing, whether or not it's dirt or pavement. You'll look at somebody and be like, you have a relatively low I rating by comparison. How are you that much faster than me? Well, when you're the CV that John Zimmer does, it makes a little bit more sense, Keaton, I suppose.
Yeah, going into that race with 4K, I was a little humbled.
I think we've all, in fairness, we've all had those moments at some point on the sim when we've raced, have we not?
Yeah, I would say we have. But yeah, great showing from him. P8 so far in the qualifying order, 16.6. He's picked up some time from the race we were in yesterday. Current number 1 qualifier, Cody Retzlaff, with a 15.656. We've seen some drivers make the 14s, but not quite going to make it, not quite going to be the pace we've been seeing qualifying so far. Adam McAfee, another driver that he's got 2 starts this week, James. One with no points, ended up disconnecting, having some terminal damage in that first race. In the second race, still towards the back. He's number 2 truck. He's got very high I rating, but just hasn't had the finish this season. Yeah, or this week, sorry. I keep saying this season. This week so far to be able to get up there in the points to be able to make that top split. If you want to participate here in the Crandon Championship, again, you can sign up for an iRacing service subscription right now. New members 30% off. Learn more at iRacing.com/membership or scan the QR code on your screen. You, in theory, could spend the rest of your Friday night grinding rookie Pro 2 light races, be able to get that dirt rating up, and see you in a super session tomorrow on Saturday.
McAfee, I think, makes a very interesting case because you've got drivers with high I rating that haven't had the opportunity or luck to get the points that they need. And so there's going to be a big question about how desperate they will be in comparison to everybody else. As you take a look at our track racer event format, in the middle of qualifying, we'll have a sprint race for 6 laps and then the main race for 10, with the grid for the main set by the finish for the sprints. And the land rush starts, Keenan, are going to be a blast and a half as we get a good look at our Swedish representative, Daniel Solo.
Yeah, he's been racing all week. I know me and him have been talking back and forth in the IRSC Discord basically all week. He's got 2 goals, James. One, run every qualifying race, and that's to his detriment, because once you start running 4 races or more throughout the week, your qualifying scores start to aggregate and average out. So that doesn't work out for him. And he wants to go for the most incident points this week. I think last time I checked, he was 3rd overall out of everybody who's run. So, Daniel, he didn't have a great run of it last night, so he's doing a great job. And well, those incident points are going to contribute to those land rush starts, James. This is probably the most exciting starts in motorsport. 10 wide, 2 rows deep. And as this replay from IRSC a couple weeks ago shows, this is what happens when it doesn't quite go to plan.
You've got a ton of space that funnels down into Potawatomi Turn 1. And if it doesn't work out, then people end up riding the fence. But if it does, you get trucks 3, 4, sometimes 5 wide, all funneling off into the first few corners here at Crandon. And it means everything to get a good start here. And yes, in theory, if you're on the outside, maybe you have a little bit of a disadvantage. Maybe you get caught up in an incident like this, but it's not impossible to get a good start from what would be perceived to be a terrible starting spot.
We've had drivers all week, James, that have started 15th, 16th, 17th, and then by the time we get at a Ponzi Turn 2, they're in the top 5. It really kind of just depends how the drivers inside of you choose to take these corners and how calm they choose to be. Oh, Daniel Solo just tagging the inside wall there in Calamity Corner. I think that might end up invalidating his lap. As we've got a new leader here, new number 1 qualifier. That's Ethan Curran, the New Zealander, 15.637. It is 0.016 of a second between the top 2 trucks.
Not a lot between Curran and Retzlaff, who post the 2 fastest times here. So New Zealand and the United States, your fastest 2 qualifiers. Then McAfee, Smith, and Solo holding it down for Sweden with another solid run. He's been consistent all week long, Keaton.
Yeah, keep an eye on that number 1 truck of Dennis Mickelson. He is a officials merchant. If you were to do any official dirt road racing, you know that name, and you know that name well. And it's the first time we've seen him all week. He didn't make the top 20 in points last season. He's got another chance to do it this year. Now with John Zimmer, Miles Morris, take an eye on those drivers too. Those are some drivers that may have had some bad luck, especially Brandon Rapp has had the worst of it. They've got a good chance for a good run with only 15 trucks, or 16 trucks rather, being here this week.
15 trucks here in this session today. They'll have an opportunity to set their starting position for the main, try and max out on points over the course of 16 laps of competition here at Crandon, which doesn't sound like a lot, Keenan, but when you're managing as much as you do through every corner at a place as technical as this, 16 laps will be more than enough.
Yeah, I'm sure 5 laps into the main, some people will be screaming at their wheels going, please let it end, please let it end, please let it end. These are a lot longer races in the truck than they feel like watching them at home. Again, keep an eye on some of our European drivers that have showed up. Florent Deschamps looking for a good finish as well. Benjamin Barato, we have not seen yet all season or all week. And again, this is their last chance. Unless they want to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to run at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern time, this is basically their last chance saloon to be able to do as best they can as we are all gridded up, ladies and gentlemen. And for the first time today, we are Green Land Rush start here at the Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer. Not the best start for Ethan Curran to the inside. Cody Retzlaff's going to get the jump on him as we fire down 16 trucks in a Potawatomi turn number 1. We got beating, we got banning, but I think everybody pointed the right direction.
One truck around Sean Smith in the back, otherwise a clean start, and now trouble at the front as Solo tags Retzlaff, and he goes around and they all pile into the wall in Tonsi turn 2.
Oh, we got a parking lot in Ponte turn 2. We got one truck, 2 trucks backwards. I think that is Dennis Mickelson, who's currently stationary. Miles Morris, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. He's got some terminal damage. He's not moving as your top 3 are now Florent Deschamps, Ethan Curran, and Brandon Rapp. 3 brand new names to the front of this field.
Think about that. Brandon Rapp started next to last on this grid. He was 15th out of 16 trucks. He's already up in a podium position before we even complete half of a lap.
So this is going to decide your starting order for the main race. This is still not, it's not for points quite yet, but to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, all these positions are important. So you're going to see drivers fight very hard, like this isn't just a qualifying race. So right now, again, the battle for the lead. Ethan Curran got some damage on the front end of that ISS machine, but he's going to be your current leader with Florent Deschamps with a clean number 4 truck, as we got one car going wide there in Cowboy Corner. But the top 3 currently new names that have not used to being at the front of this field. The smartest thing for them to do right now, I've been saying it all week, let's just get gone and have that fight between the 2 or 3 of us.
Some really good battles a little bit further back in the field. This is the battle for the 5th position as they work their way through Ponce turn 2. A little bit further back in this field at 9th as well. We've got a good battle between Cadillac and Barato and McAfee.
Cadillac, the Canadian, trying to make something happen. And then number 14 truck, he's going to go wide in a gravel pit, trying to go for the cutback on the inside. Had the momentum, but just ran out of real estate. And then there's that number 2, Adam McAfee, who just needs a solid finish. By God, the poor guy. He's had such bad luck all week long. And again, a good starting spot right now. And something to keep in mind is Keegan Kalick is going to actually pull over and park the truck. So he'll be out of this race. We'll take a look at what happened in the start.
As the leaders continue to battle. So here's a look at turn 1. You'll see Sean Smith clip the fence and then end up going way sideways off that tire just out of shot. And then the contact between Retzlaff and Solo, which really teased this off. Everybody else tried to avoid, but they all sort of sweep up into the wall. And that's one of the narrowest points here at Crandon, right past the bridge at turn 2, Keenan. If something happens there, it's really difficult to avoid it no matter where you are.
2 things I want to point out after watching that replay. Number 1, Daniel Solo and Cody Retzlaff are nose to tail, so this battle's not over. Number 2, Cody Retzlaff did a full-on front flip, and that truck's P6 about to fight for P5 as he shoves the door of Daniel Solo. Got to imagine they're not going to play nice now. Let's take a look to the inside. I think we had an issue there from Braxton Truchet. We saw him getting a couple dust-ups yesterday, and he's not ready to get the elbows out. He throws the door to Daniel Solo. He's going in the attenuator, and somehow he stays out of it.
I don't know how he hung on to it, but somehow he did. It is a parking lot there as Brandon Rapp has fallen back significantly. He does not have the pace, and goodness did Retzlaff just about get sent over on his nose and somehow hung on to the thing. I think Retzlaff is hoping that the main race will be a little bit less chaotic as one truck goes off.
Oh my God,
That's Adam McAfee.
That's off. We are a little bit off piece there, my friend. I think as Adam McAfee is going to be off course, but Cody Retzlaff has hit everything but the pace truck, I think, so far. No fault of his own, of course, as our battle for the lead is starting to heat up. Ethan Curran, again, his teammate at Hadley Boyce had a great run last night, his first podium of the week, but Ethan Curran's had a ton of speed as well. We just haven't seen him so much in the evening splits. But somebody we've talked about a little bit this week, Florent Deschamps, just seems to be getting caught up in incidents, maybe fighting in the midfield, but that Ford truck has had pace all week, and finally, he's got an opportunity to show it.
Deschamps has just been on the rear deck that of Curran for most of this sprint race so far. And I wonder whether or not Deschamps is just sort of holding position for the moment. Again, you're just setting the grid for the main race, which is really where you make your money and your points in this case. So if you're Deschamps, do you need to push the issue as much? Maybe so. Through Calamity Corner, he feeds a bumper to Curran and tries to get to the inside past start finish, but no lead for Deschamps yet.
Daniel Solo gets turned around in that battle with Baxter Truchet. Baxter Truchet not You know, I think maybe watching a little bit of the broadcast, I think he's willing to become a little bit of the villain. It calls to him like the mask, because that is going to be Daniel Solo turned around after that little battle. But we've got 3 battles that are brewing all over the racetrack. John Zimmer now, he's up to P5. He's to the back of Baxter Touche. You want to think of somebody who's not afraid to throw some elbows? I would imagine a Monster Jam driver is not going to be afraid to get physical.
He certainly is going to know how to do stuff, and John Zimmer's done a nice job working his way through the field as well. Qualified in 11th, now up to 5th, so up 6 spots just in this sprint as we go back to the battle for the lead between Crandon and Deschamps.
And we've got a new challenger here in this battle for the lead. You fight a little bit too hard. We've seen it all week. You open up the door for trucks behind to catch up. And look who it is. It's the Moroccan Foster Smithies, who's been a non-factor. He's been in the races, James, but just not really been a factor up front. Get caught up in issues. Basically, same story as Florent Deschamps. But now he's knocking at the door of the Frenchman, trying to take P2 away.
Good look at the onboard here, Foster Smithies. And Smithies has really just been running his own race for most of this. Hasn't really had any trucks to battle with. And he's just been watching Crandon and Deschamps go after each other. And little by little, lap by lap, has reeled both of them in. So now what was a true truck battle for the lead is a 3-truck battle for the lead in this sprint.
The one smiling the most right now is Ethan Curran, looking at his rearview mirror. He was being pressured heavy from Florent Deschamps. Now he's got some pressure for himself, so he's going to be able to open up a little bit of a gap as John Zimmer now taking a look to Baxter Touche, going into Cowboy Corner. Can he get the move done? Baxter throws it in backwards, and John Zimmer goes to the inside, but he's not going to have the run coming out of the corner, but the 3 machine's going to have that run. John Zimmer saying no thank you, trying to put the block on the 3, and Cody Retzlaff, shocker, is off course once again. He's just got no luck here in this sprint.
Cody Retzlaff would like a normal field trip win the main race. I think it's been anything but in the sprint so far for him as Touche and Zimmer continue to fight for the 4th position, wheel to wheel, coming into the gravel pit. We'll see how they try and swing it around here. A little bit deeper, a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit too much for Touche, who will give up the spot to John Zimmer, who continues to climb through this field truck by truck by truck.
Oh, he gets a big shot from Baxter there in the 8 machine. He's going to be shipped wide. That also sends Cody Retzlaff wide. But John Zimmer not willing to let him have it. He's going to throwing elbows at each other in the air, coming out of their start-finish and going into Argonne Corner. Really good opportunity here to set up a pass. If you go a bit wide, Braxton's going to go to the inside line, get way too much of that berm. That should give John Zimmer a little bit of breathing room to pull away, but big opportunity for a dive bomb here as we're on our final lap of this sprint race already. Feels like I blinked and we went through 6 laps.
What kind of run will Touche throw in a Cowboy Corner? How about a big one? He had that thing sideways and almost backwards and almost was able to get alongside Zimmer, but couldn't complete the pass on corner exit. Sit out. Zimmer will have the run into Potawatomi turn 1.
Yeah, he's gonna, again, if I'm John Zimmer, I want to get as far away from this 8 truck as possible. We saw him cause some issues yesterday with a little bit of argy-bargy, and obviously we're seeing the same thing today. Cody Retzlaff, I think, has gone full Joker mode. At this point, everybody else is running into you. I'm just going to start treating people the way I've been treated. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see some little bit of a mix-up here going into a gravel pit. As we do, hits the front of the 8 machine. Give all the respect to Ethan Curran in the world. Uneventful race for that number 11 truck. He's going to take your win. For Deschamps Foster Smithies round out your podium. But it looks like that battle for 4th finally settles as we cross lines. John Zimmer, P4. Excellent start in his first appearance here in Top Split this week.
Impressive run for John Zimmer. 7 spots gained from his qualifying spot just in this sprint race alone. So Zimmer, I think, will be one to watch as we work our way into the main. New Zealand, France, and Morocco, your top 3 finishers in the sprint race between Crandon, Deschamps, and Smithies. Then Zimmer and Retzlaff, 2 Americans, rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, and again, some names that we don't see there are Adam McAfee. He's not up there. Dennis Mickelson getting caught up in that as well. And Daniel Solo somehow being at the center of almost everything and still getting away with a top 10 finish. He'll still have the front row for our main race start, but not really somewhere you want to be, being that far to the left. Miles Morris being able to pull over with damage. Keegan Kalick as well, the Canadian. Canadians have not had great luck this week. It seems anytime there's a Maple Leafs next to somebody's name, it's a curse. So Keegan, unfortunately, going to be looking for something. But, I mean, hey, we saw how many drivers start at the back and be able to move their way up to the front in the first lap. So not over yet for those on the back row.
Yeah, Brandon Rapp was able to get up into a podium spot by the end of lap 1. The question is going to be, how do you keep the track position now that we had 10 laps to work with in the main, and now that you are racing for the big bulk of points that will go towards the standings that will potentially get you into a top split super session tomorrow at some point. The stakes are higher in the main. Does that change the way the drivers approach the racing?
You know, our next race will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want a way to spend your afternoon, what a better way to do it with iRacing Arcade. Just launched their brand new console update, going to be available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and of course, available as well on Steam. 4 brand new cars, 4 brand new tracks. There we go. 4 brand new cars, 4 brand new tracks available right now. You can scan that QR code on screen to learn more. But the Formula Fangio is super cool. That's based off a late 60s-ish Formula 1 car. The Formula Turbo, more 70s. There's Mercedes in the 190E DTM car. That was awesome to see. My personal favorite, James, the Big Boy.
That does track. The big rigs are a lot of fun. I've been playing this a lot over the last few days. A few new tracks now as well. Jerez, Manicourt, Monza, and Misano. The World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli in as well in iRacing Arcade. This is an absolute blast. It can be tough to handle, but if you get a handle on it, it's a lot of fun. And speaking of games that you want to keep an eye out for, September 18th will be the launch of NASCAR 26 on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. If you go into Steam, you can scan the lower right-hand portion of your screen and get the QR code. Get more information on that. It is available for pre-order now. If you get the Gold Edition, it includes 4 months worth of DLC paint scheme packs, 1,000 career mode reputation points, a $10,000 career bonus, and more. San Diego will be in there. The Ram will be in there. Cross-platform multiplayer will be in there. Burnouts will be in there. St. Petersburg and Chicagoland will be in the game as well. So much on the second edition of a NASCAR console game for the folks at iRacing Studios. I cannot wait. Keenan.
I know they said yesterday they announced that there was going to be manual driver rating adjustments. So if your favorite driver didn't get the overall rating you think they deserved, you can go in and change it. And I still stand by my statement that I'm going to have 36 Ryan Vargas is all at 100, race each other and just kind of see what happens. But here is your starting order for that main race. Ethan Kerwin, the Kiwi for Iridium Sim Sport, going to be on the whole shot on the pole. Before on to Sean Foster Smithies. It is a non-North American top 3 for the first time, I think, this week, with John Zimmer being your first American knocking on the door in P4. Cody Retzlaff going to look to try to turn that horrible, no good, very sprint into something better in top 5 and take a look at these names towards the bottom of the order. Dennis Mickelson, Adam McAfee, Keegan Kalick, Sean Smith, who we've seen podium, I believe, in a race this week. Miles Morse, who's run almost every race here with Team Watson Racing and just unfortunately keeps getting unlucky. Could he have the horseshoe here in the main? We're about to find out in a few moments' time.
Could he potentially have the whole shot as well? That'd be a lot of fun to see. It would require some form of nuttiness on this Darkina, but here we go. 10 laps for the main in this qualifying session at Crandon.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the last time, at least in the 11 a.m. split, we are green, green, green. We start our land rush start for our final qualifier of the week here at 11 a.m. That's a decent start for Ethan Kerr to the inside. It's almost been a curse this week for so many drivers having bad luck on the inside for the land rush start. We are all leaning on each other. It's a touring car race coming out of Potawatomi, turn number 1. One car, I think that's Adam McAfee, hits the attenuator in Ponte, turn 2. And then we have a couple of RG bars, a little bit dust up against Daniel Solo up on the wall. But on the exception of one, everybody pointed the right direction.
Solo gets put in the fence. Corin Deschamps, Retzlaff, and Smithy. So most of your top qualifiers retained their spots through the land rush. John Zimmer in 5th as well. But Corin and Deschamps, just as they were in the sprint, beginning to lead this group. And Retzlaff this time has a clean truck and has some track position and is not being run into, unlike the sprint race. So will this be a very different show for Cody Retzlaff?
Yeah, again, we've talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast. These machines are built for war, but if you're carrying damage through the whole race, it does make it a bit difficult. We've got a huge argument going on here for about 10th. I think I've seen 6 trucks all bounce off each other 1, 2, 3, 4 times. He's jumping back up to the front. That's Cody Redslap now with a clean machine. Maybe with a little bit less damage, he'll actually be able to carry some speed. He gets the move done on Roger Shaw, and that's the 5 machine of Roger Smithy's going, hey, I've been out of this conversation all week. You're going to talk about me now.
Foster Smithy's now up to third, at least for the moment. Deschamps, though, with a run on the inside, feeds Smithy's a door in Potawatomi turn 1 to take the 3rd spot back. Meanwhile, Curran trying to hang off of the rear deck lid of Retzlaff, who's setting a blistering pace so far. These two starting to separate themselves from Deschamps, and Smithy's in 3rd and 4th.
I maybe you won't happen because I've been saying it all week. The best thing for those two to do now is let the 2 trucks behind you fight and get the heck away from them. Be able to fight to rebalance yourselves towards the end, because look what happens if you don't. That fight for 11th is only getting better, worse. It kind of depends on how you view it, because there's trucks beating and banging. We have been leaning on each other constantly. They're leaning on each other for the lead. Ethan Curran does not want to give this one up, James.
Curran is continuing to fight, continuing to pressure Retzlaff, and for as much as he spent his time in the pack in the sprint race, he's going to have to make that rear bumper as wide as he can. Curran is right there, and he's going to have a good opportunity to try and take the lead from Retzlaff when they head off in the Cowboy corner.
They're really hard to set up a clean pass. Here's Ethan Curran, takes a look down the inside of Cowboy corner. Doesn't have to be a clean pass if he doesn't want it to be. He throws the right rear quarter panel to Cody Retzlaff, and Ethan Curran, the Kiwi, back to the lead. Looks like he's taking the outside. He may be redressing the position here. I know he keyed up on the radio as they made contact. Cody Retzlaff didn't get the message. He gives him a door going into Ponte turn 2.
Continuing to fight, clean run through turn 2. We haven't talked about that during this broadcast as you see all these battles, but Ponce turn 2, one of the trickiest because you have to enter it sideways in order to carry speed. You are giving up mountains of time if you don't, as Retzlaff takes the lead back away from Curran over in the gravel pit. So we've seen a lot of separation as these main races go on. Turn 2 is the place that I think the best drivers in this field really can distance themselves from the pack.
We've seen mid-air passes there. We've seen passing and underpassing. And as you said, it's such a commitment-heavy corner. You have to be sideways before you even leave the jump if you want to be able to have the momentum and the angle to be able to get that whole Ponte turn 2 right. And there's no braking there. You're just downshifting and modulating throttle. That's why you've seen so many drivers get up into that blue retaining wall.
A little bit further back, Daniel Solo and company, and Miles Morris just absolutely sending
That's
it
a broken
through
man. That's
Yeah.
a broken man who's had enough this week. He's gotten pushed around and punted around by basically everybody. I think Miles has finally had it up. He's become the knight, and that's Daniel Solo getting shipped wide by Adam McAfee. Miles Morris is like, you know what? If you can't beat him, join him. I'm going to start throwing elbows.
Morse just...
Oh, God.
Wow. Okay, I thought somebody was about to go over there. Morse tried to use McAfee as a cue ball there on Solo and ends up losing all that track position before they clear Potawatomi turn 1 into Ponce turn 2. And we'll see whether or not they all survive there. A little bit of contact between Morse and Solo on corner entry, but trucks are... Somebody got stuck. Was that Mickelson that got stuck? No, it was Melvin Brand, who we see rolling now, but one truck was stuck on the wall there in turn 2.
Yeah, big wreck. I saw that kind of happen. I thought it was just a single truck spin. We wouldn't have to really worry about that. But obviously, that you could do 2 different lines in the Ponte turn 2. You can go wide and go up right near the wall. That you can carry a lot of speed down in the gravel pit, or go shallow. That was Sean Smith getting stuck in that blue wall. I think it was just him going a little bit shallow in Ponte turn 2. Hit the berm on the inside, got the truck kicked out wide, and unfortunately for everybody behind him, no yellow flags in the corner, so they all barreled in there. Bowling, WeBowling.wav, I think is what happened there.
Just about, yeah. Sean Smith with no luck in this. Had trouble and wrecked in the opening lap of the sprint. Now ends up wrecked in the main as well. So he'll look for an opportunity to regroup later tonight. Meanwhile, Ethan Curran and Cody Retzlaff will not separate from each other. They have left Deschamps and Zimmer and company in their tire tracks to the tune of about 3.2 seconds. But these two are glued to each other for the race lead.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Deschamps last lap, whether he had an issue. It was a 17.9, which is about a second off of pace, so I don't know what happened. As we take another look what happened to Sean W. Smith again. I went back and looked at this in the replay. He's just going to go a little bit to the inside, carries all that momentum of Ponce turn 2, hits the berm on the inside, almost bicycles, rolls the truck over. He gets stuck in the wall, and then here comes everybody else. No time to react, and I'd love to tell you what trucks were involved in that, but I think it'd be easier to tell you what trucks weren't.
Fair point there. And the worst part for Smith, he was stuck right in the racing line when that truck ended up sideways and backwards over at the wall at Ponce Turn 2. So nowhere for the drivers behind to avoid. That's why that wreck got so big. In the meantime, continuing to keep our eyes on this battle between Retzlaff and Crandon. Shades of Mittag and Barry from a day ago as they bang doors once again in Cowboy Corner. But this has been a really, really good heads-up fight between the two of these.
Yeah, I think the difference now, James, is they're not on the same route like Mittag and Barry were. They're not teammates like Mittag and Barry were. The more you drive with the same people, you can kind of predict their movements. You know their driving style. A lot of these drivers are in leagues together, so you're able to do that studying. But I don't know how much a Kiwi and American have spent door-to-door in here. But Ethan Kern is not backing down for the challenge. Cody Retzlaff has not had the results this week, but don't let that fool you. A very, very good driver here in the dirt road discipline, the short course discipline. This Ethan Kern, a little tap to the tailgate of Cody Retzlaff. I don't think he's going to go for an aggressive move just yet. We still have 5 laps to go as we enter lap number 6, but he's definitely letting Cody know he's there.
Just enough to keep him honest, I think. I think you're onto something in that we could see something way bigger there, as Curran didn't get a good jump over start-finish and lost a little bit of ground to Retzlaff in the process. So maybe that creates some breathing room, some separation as they work their way through Argonne towards Cowboy Corner. But if you're Retzlaff, you want to try and get away as best as you can. If you're Curran, maybe now you have to force the issue because you are starting to run out of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you, we have lost Sean W. Smith, Dennis Mickelson, and Melvin Brand. Hope you see Dennis especially back in tonight. I've done a lot of racing with him. It's unfortunate to see that number 1 truck out so early. Big move there for P6. That's Braxton. It's not even remotely what his name is. Baxter Truchet is going to be door-to-door with Benjamin Barato, both of them to the pot of Watermead, turn number 1, door-to-door. I was going to say fender-to-fender, but Baxter's missed pieces on the number 8 machine.
I think they're all missing parts and pieces at this point, right? It wouldn't be a race at Crandon if you weren't missing a fender because you've run into somebody else. So Barato Truchet with this great fight into the gravel pit. What does Barato go on corner entry? Not deep enough. They'll slide it sideways, continue to bounce off of each other, and Barato with the spot for the moment.
Kendrick Cargill has had a phone call from the stewards that will be our second disqualification of the week. We saw Dane Culver early on this week get a black flag for too many incidents, and now Kendrick Cargill, his bad week goes to worse as the 7 machine will be called into the pit lane. He will not be able to participate in the rest of this session.
Unfortunate there for Cargill, who had a big opportunity to try and get points, and now is going to have his work cut out for him in tonight's session to try and get anything to get himself into the top split super sessions tomorrow. Meanwhile, keeping an eye on this battle between Barato Truchet and Brandon Rapp, who sends it in deep into Cowboy Corner and tries to get Truchet wide, but Truchet with a good drive on corner exit to try and run down Barato once again.
Yeah, and Adam McAfee back in this battle as well now for P876. I think P6 still very much on the cards. We're lap 7 of 10. There's still tons of time left, time running out. That battle for the lead, ladies and gentlemen, just to keep you updated, about a second, so not much going on up towards the lead. They're running about the same lap times. We'll come back to you if we see anything happen there, but this is the battle on the racetrack. Adam McAfee to the bottom of gravel pit, place gravel pit of Brandon Rapp. Brandon Rapp, no stranger to being pushed around this week, and both of these two, that's kind of something that happens, James, throughout the week here in Crandon Championship, is everybody starts so fresh-eyed and innocent, and then you meet Mr. War, basically. And this is what happens now on Fridays. All these drivers have been used and abused all week, and the tone of the race has definitely changed.
The redness that they see a little bit more intense than the brown dirt that they race upon here at Crandon. As Barato now has started to get a little bit of breathing room, and then as soon as he does, he goes wide in Argonne, and that allows Truchet to close in, and now we'll be in for some fun when we get to Cowboy Corner once again as we go on board with McAfee.
big dive from Baxter right there as he puts the fender to Barato. They go side by side. Adam McAfee, same exact move actually on Brandon Rapp, but here's the difference now with that cowboy corner being banked and so tight that even if you get someone under the inside of you, you're gonna have momentum going into Potawatomi turn number 1, where there is really no banking. It's a cambered corner, but no banking. There's no real way to defend from the outside there, but Adam McAfee getting it done. He takes over P8. Now he's got his foot in the door for P7.
Because Barreto did not have a good entry into Ponce turn 2, caught that inside curve that almost caught him out the same way that it did catch out Sean Smith earlier in this race, and now he's wide in the gravel pit, and that may offer up an opportunity for McAfee to take the spot, and it almost gave Brandon Rapp an opportunity too.
I was going to say Baxter Truche now has our job of being the camera car because he's going to be able to pull away from this Rapp, this Donnybrook behind him here for P7. This position still important. Adam McAfee's get bounced to the inside wall almost. They were 3 wide there as Brandon Rapp gets pushed outside. Benjamin Barato gets the worst of it, I think. He's going to lose a spot and a half. And now Adam McAfee finally pulls away. Finally, he's going to have some clean air in that number 2 machine to show us what speed he really has.
Brandon Rapp almost caught one of the concrete barriers there as they worked their way down towards Argonne. He's still in the mix, though, as they slide it big in the cowboy corner. No contact between these drivers, and now Baxter Truche, I think, might finally be creating enough breathing room to give himself some separation in 6th, and he might finally be done with the big battles as we approach the last lap of this main.
Yeah, it's just he's not had clear air and all week, and finally be able to not just be involved in some of the fights, but be able to kind of stretch his legs and show some speed. I'm sure he's really happy about that. Speaking of which, taking the white flag right now is Cody Retzlaff. He has been participating quite a bit this week. We've seen him a lot more in the evening splits, in the 9 p.m. splits, but now finally that truck is the cleanest it's been. I say that he's missing a fender, but it's the cleanest he's been all week, and finally able to get to the front of the field. But let's not take anything away from Ethan Curran. Gave him a heck of a fight. And still there in terms of pace. Maybe 1 or 2 mistakes is all it takes, because this gap has been consistently around a second for the last 5 laps. Big time. Okay, no, he's too far back.
Too far back, and it was just the one mistake on that little curve coming after start finish that separated Curran and Retzlaff about midway through this race, and that's been the difference maker. Retzlaff's been able to maintain this distance, and now just has to work his way through Ponce turn 2 in the gravel pit and Calamity Corner to claim a win in the main on Friday morning at Crandon.
Yeah, this battle for 6 is not over. Those were side by side, Adam McAfee and Baxter Truche, but Cody Retzlaff setting sail and finally able to stretch his legs. Unless we have a meteor hitting the racetrack, it should be Cody Retzlaff's race to lose. The battle for 6 still on. It was almost completely sideways. Baxter Truche, he's now behind Adam McAfee. He dropped into his clutches as Ethan Curran as well going to finish second. Cody Retzlaff comes across the line to take your main win here in our final morning race, your final qualifier at 11 a.m. Great to see that result from him, as I think this battle, as the end of the race, has finally spread out enough to where we could say that Adam McAfee will finish 6th, Baxter Truche 7th, and Benjamin Barteau 8th. The lead spread out. Great racing from them, but the lead spread out. It was kind of just settled down, but 6 on back, we're like, hey, broadcast, don't worry, we'll put on a show for you, and they did in spades.
They did indeed here at Crandon. Retzlaff, Curran, Deschamps, your podium from this main. John Zimmer did a nice job gaining a lot of track position in the sprint, held it in the main for 4th. Foster Smithies out of Morocco comes home 5th. Then McAfee, Truche, Barato, Rapp, and Keegan Kalick from Canada getting a 10th place run, Keaton.
Yeah, and that was one of those trucks that, I don't know if you heard me go, ooh, but one of the ones I thought was going to do a wheelie or a flip there a couple laps ago. So good to see him be able to salvage a top 10. Daniel Solo, thankfully, it looks like he's still probably going to be in those top 20 in points. He's just out here getting some seat time. He got a lot of sky time as he was in 11th, got caught up in a lot of incidents. Miles Morris week goes from bad to worse. He's your last truck on the lead lap. And then from Melvin Brandt on back, we have drivers that have either had issues. I believe Kendrick was disconnected, had an internet issue. I don't think that was on incidents, but I can't be sure. But I saw that he dropped out of the session due to connection issues, so that may have been what happened to the number 7 machine. And Dennis Mickelson only getting 2 laps in your number 1 truck on iRacing, going to be at the back of the field. As you can follow along with us all week in top 20 points and more on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. Again, we will be able to keep an eye on this storyline that develops. I think about 13th up in the points should be good for whatever Super Saturday session they choose to run. But 13th on back is definitely all to play for, especially now that we go into the weekend, James. Friday night's all right for fighting.
A big qualifying session coming up tonight. The last opportunity to get points before Saturday. So one more shot if you want to go up against the best of the best to try and race your way in. That session tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. We'll have the broadcast here on iRacing's channels. And then 11 o'clock and 9 o'clock tomorrow, the Super Sessions here at Crandon to close out this special event. And all of those broadcasts you can see on iRacing's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Yeah, you still got 9 hours to be able to get something together to be able to participate in that final qualifier. You can jump in with a dirt road rating of 4.0 or better. If you're below that, if you're a rookie or in D, I know a lot of people have not really experienced dirt road, jump in the new cross car. That thing's a hoot and be able to run a rallycross. If that's not your bag, the Pro 2 Lite is also a lot of fun. Realistically, you can grind some races this afternoon and be within a shot of making a qualifier race here for the Crandon Championship. And even if you don't, you have till tomorrow. You could show up not having qualified at all. I love that we finally included that note as very similar to the iRacing 8500 qualifying. The only difference is it's head-to-head races rather than qualifying sessions, but you could show up on Saturday having not run at all and still be able to have an exciting door-to-door race like we saw here this afternoon.
And the next race, the next session, 9 p.m. tonight, 1 o'clock if you are in the UK. And you can convert time zones elsewhere, but one more opportunity in the second session tonight on Friday to get yourself a good spot amongst the top dirt road sim racers in the world to try and best the big house and be tops at Crandon when the checkered flag falls tomorrow.
And speaking of things coming up, James, this is a little bit more in your wheelhouse than mine, but welcome back the eNASCAR College Series. Brand new season, brand new format. Why don't you talk us through what's going on now that class is in session?
Class is almost about to be in session. Scan the QR code on your screen to register for the first time attack. We are not far away from the first of 8 tournaments in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series for 2026-27. The Peachtree Pursuit at Echo Park Speedway will open up the season on September 23rd. The time attack opens on September 15th and will run to September 20th. And if you or a college student and register and compete, you may ultimately end up with scholarship money at the end of this. That's the thing. You can pay for your college education by being very good at sim racing, and Keenan, I have to believe that makes you just as jealous as it does me. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch the trucks and the Mustang GT4s go at it.
I'm a 30-year-old man. I'm still paying off my student loan. Wouldn't it have helped to be able to turn a plastic little wheel left and right to be able to help out with that, especially since it's available to drivers in both the U.S. and Canada. Of course, last season's champion, Connor Yershak, representing Calgary. Nice to see him out there. But will we have a new face towards the front of that series? Will we have a new face as a Crandon champion? Again, Sean Winkler is your only defending champion from last year. We still have one more qualifier left to go, James, tonight, and this is going to be the big one.
I have to believe it's going to be one of the most exciting because the desperation levels are going to be so high. If you haven't gotten it done, you have one more opportunity left to make it happen. If you don't get it done tonight, you don't have another shot. All or nothing tonight.
Yeah, again, we've been talking about how you guys watching can participate, but if you're in the dirt road community, if you're one of the passionate people who've been running all week, it's top split or nothing. You want to prove that you are one of the best 20 drivers in this discipline, in this service, and you have one more chance to do it. Thank you very much this afternoon for joining me, James. It was a treat to be able to share a broadcast with you once again. It's been over a year since we've been able to work together. Really nice to have you. Nice to have the rest of the iRacing broadcast team put on such a show this week, be able to showcase this unique form of racing. It's been a treat and a half, and the racing has paid off in spades. Again, you can participate right now. You can sign up for a new subscription, 30% off. Make sure you are here tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That is the last chance saloon. Who will be joining the 20 best sim racers in the world on dirt in the Big House? We'll find out tonight, as we'll see you at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.